अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः.
ओम नमः प्रणवार्ताय शुद्धज्ञानैकमूर्तये निर्मलाय प्रशान्ताय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः. ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवत्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः. विद्यासु श्रुतिवत्कृष्ट रुद्र एकादशिनी श्रुता तत्र पंचाक्षरी तस्यां शिव इत्यक्षरद्वयम्. Chamakam. Krishna Yajurvedam, like when we talk about the Om Namah Shivaya mantra, we talked about how that mantra is at the center of the Vedas. And in the Yajurveda, there are 7 khandas, 7 huge chapters, 7 khandas. So the 4th khanda being the middle one, like 3 on this side, 3 on this side, the 4th khanda being in the middle. The 4th khanda is divided into what they call prapatakas, chapters, and in each chapter there is anuvakas. So the prapataka in which Rudram or the Namakam, Namo Bhagavate Rudraya comes is the 5th prapataka. Now please pay attention. But you know where does Chamakam come? Chamakam comes in the 7th prapataka of the 4th khanda. You would think that Namakam and Chamakam are together in that. So in between there is another prapataka, the 6th prapataka. So the 5th prapataka is where Namakam comes, and you make a jump over the 6th prapataka to go to 7th prapataka. Start with Agna, Vishnu, Sajosa, Hema. Why is this? Why is this? When you chant Namakam, there is a lot of purification taking place. Now we talked about it so many times. There is a lot of karmic cleansing that takes place because Rudram, Namakam, is the most powerful tool, powerful instrument to cleanse your karmas. Because the whole entire prayer is Lord Rudra to loosen up your karmas, to lighten the effects of your karmas upon you. So when you chant this, so the two things that's happening. Not only your karmas are getting mitigated, but there is also a process of inner awakening. When you chant Rudram, there is a process of inner awakening. Now why is this? Because when the question was asked to Yajnavalkya, what is the way to enlightenment? What is the way to the Parabrahma Jnanam? To realize the fact that Shivoham, what is the way to do that? So Yajnavalkya in one sentence answers that other than the 300 names of Lord Shiva, there is no other way. So there is karmic cleansing on the one side, there is inner purification on the other side. So how does it inner purification? Because towards knowing yourself, the Atma Jnana. So the 300 names, when you chant this, there is a lot of changes taking place in your subtle vehicles. So you change from inside when you chant Rudram. And more so when you start doing Abhishekam and with the Rudram to Shivalingam. So now this is, like I said, 5th Prapataka. 4th Kanda, 5th Prapataka. When you do this, Namakam, Namo Bhagavate Rudraya, inner cleansing is take place. Now what is the 6th Prapataka that we jump to go to 7th Prapataka, the Chamakam? The sixth Prapataka tells you how to consolidate all these subtle energies that you have developed in your body. And jump to the prayer part. Why do we need a prayer? Why do we have to pray? Now, we have time and again seen that even though you may have reached the goal, many great saints have fallen from greatest heights. So even if you consolidate all the gains that you gained in the fifth Prapataka by chanting Rudram and you consolidate it in the sixth Prapataka, why are we resorting back to the seventh Prapataka chanting Chamakam, asking for 347 items? You know, you're not praying for one item, two items, or three items. You're asking for 347 items. Why are we doing that? The Chamakam, the items that are prayed for, are not a Rolls Royce. Not those are not prayed for. Most of the items that are prayed for, what are basic necessities of life, and the other items that are prayed for in Chamakam are what you need to do to keep you in that state of attainment, like what you need to keep doing your homam, what you need to keep doing your Veda Parayanam, what you need to keep your mental faculties intact. So the prayer in Namakam, Namo Bhagavate Rudraya, in the first and the 10th Anuvakam, those are the two Anuvakams with prayers, are mostly general. First Anuvakam, blunt the tips of your arrows. From 2nd to 9th is just 300 names, no prayers. First and the 10th Anuvakam are the prayers. In the 10th Anuvakam, we pray for the entire world, starting with Drape, Andasaspathe, Daridranila Lohita. We pray for the whole world, pray for the city, pray for the town, and we say that you are the universal medicine man. Heal this world, heal this corona disease. That's what the prayer in 10th Anuvakam. But there are more general prayers. Then we, after praying for the rest of the world, then you pray for your own family, pray for your father, your mother, your grandfather, then your children, your servants, your pets, your animals, your cats, your dogs, your horses, whatever you have. That's what prayer in Namakam. But the nature of prayer in Chamakam is completely different. What is that? Basic necessity. Give me food. Give me place, shelter. Give me a ladle to do my homam. Right? Give me ghee. And give me, Veda Dhyayanam, knowledge for Veda Dhyayanam. Give me the ability to chant the scriptures. And give me an intact mind so that I can do all this. So all this is prayed for in Chamakam. And the reason is, you attained what you were asking in Namakam, ending with Mrityunjaya mantra, Trayambakam Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam, Urvarkam Iva Bandhanat, Mrityor Mukshiya. Liberate me from death, like for Markandeya. Then the keynote is given right in that mantra, that after having liberated me from death, O Lord Shiva, don't liberate me. Don't liberate me what? Ma Amrita, don't liberate me from liberation. Liberate me from death, give me liberation. But Ma Amrita, don't liberate me from liberation, so keep me there. And that's exactly why the Chamakam part comes. So, recitation of Rudram, the 300 Namaskaras, and the power of those words in themselves, and the vibratory part along with those power and the grace of Lord introduces new energies and new developments in your subtle bodies. Your subtle bodies. So then, the purpose of sixth Prapataka is to stabilize these energies, and that it has 9 Anuvakas. So the sixth Prapataka has 9 Anuvakas, and the first 6 deal with the manifestation of divinity within you, in the form of various gods and goddesses, also in the development of your own consciousness. The blooming of divinity in you is what is dealt with in the 6 Prapataka as a result of chanting Rudram. Now, in all this, Agni is the guiding force. It guides this manifestation. Agni guides this inner development and manifestation to higher states of awareness. And the Devatas are not only manifesting in the devotee, but mark these words, they are also attending upon him. Attending upon him. You know, if some of you know about Pundi Swami and some other great saints like Lahiri Mahashaya and other great saints, all the great Shankaracharyas from Sringeri Matam, and the Kanchi Mahapariva from Kanchi, and then Gurudev, Brahmananda Saraswati from Jyotir Mat. If you read their biographies, the Devatas were attending on them. One time, Lahiri Mahashaya's wife was so disgusted because he is engaged in satsang all the time with his devotees. So she became irritated and she just complained to him, what are you doing all the time? You don't take care of the family. You don't even think about me, that I am here, wife. And on, like a typical wife, she was complaining to Lahiri Mahashaya. And all of a sudden, Lahiri Mahashaya just disappeared. He was not there anymore. Like she is talking to him, disappeared. Just like that. And then she had just only a voice. You see, I'm nothing. Don't you see I'm nothing? How can nothing give you anything? Then she begged him, please come back. Then he slowly descended. Forgive me, I'm ignorant. And then he slowly descended and said, one of my devotees will provide for you, don't worry. Lo and behold, next couple of weeks, whatever she needed materially was provided for. Not only that, and she happened to see Lahiri Mahashaya, because she was curious now that this man is not an ordinary man. You know, I touched with my husband, like every wife treats her husband the same way. They don't know what is inside of him. So, now, one night she just peeped into the meditation room and all the angels, all the devatas were attending upon Lahiri Mahashaya, worshipping him. The same thing, in Pundi Mahan, the Chayari river. The Chayari river gets flooded sometimes. Pundi Mahan used to be meditating on the banks of the river, and then when my flash floods, he was just swept away and buried in the sands. People thought he was swept away and gone. And a few days later, when the water level subsided, they found a hair, tuft of his hair was just waving in the water, and just the hair. And some guys thought, what is this hair waving here? They started digging, and lo and behold, Pundi Mahan got up and walked away. Coming back to the story that I wanted to say, so Kalasapakam is where he was. So Kalasapakam, there was this craftsman. What he does, he makes this huge metal urns to process sugarcane juice to make sugar. So he makes them and he services them. So he crosses the river sometimes to go to the other village and do his business. So one time on a full moon day, and this man was walking across the river, right in the middle of the river, he saw Pundi Swami sitting and all the angels were attending upon him. Yeah. So that's what this is all about. So that is all in the 6th Prapataka of how this is. But so the last 3 Anuvakas, what do they deal with of the 6th Prapataka? They deal with the perfection of the life force, prana, that you gained by chanting Rudra. Prananam grantirasi rudroma vishantakaha. It's a prayer. Prananam grantirasi rudroma vishantakaha. In the 11th Anuvakam, this is the prayer. So after Rudra unties it, and then the 6th Prapataka tells you how to nourish that. Look at all these mantras. There is a definite sequence. Prananam grantirasa rudrama vishantaka tena nena payasva sadashivam. That's how it ends. And then Rudra does his job. But then we jump right away, asking for 347 things to Chamakam. Let's go there now. The whole purpose of Taittiriya Samhita in Krishna Yajurveda is to attain that all-round perfection. So Chamakam fulfills that. How does it fulfill it? In the form of Vasordhara. Vasordhara is like after you all did your havan, so when the final Purnahuti is offered, then after that you pour the ghee in a long ladle, so Vasordhara. The pouring of ghee into the sacred fire with a wooden ladle. Now that long ladle technically should be made of Odumbar tree wood, where Dattatreya sits, where Dakshinamurti sits, at the Kallalaram we call it. So that should be the wood that should be made of. So, and then we are praying for a list of 347 items in Chamakam. And like I said, in Namakam, the prayers kind of were generic. Anuvakam 1 and 10 were generic. In Chamakam is specific. Now the question comes. You know, a lot of smarties out there, they will tell you, oh, why do you have to pray? You know, does not God know what you want? If He's God, supposed to know what you want and give you. Of course God knows. Not that God doesn't know, God knows. But same thing, a relationship between a parent and a child. A parent knows the child loves a toy, wants a toy. But unless the child pesters the father through the mother, he's not going to get it. So same way, God knows what you want. But unless you focus and tell Him, Lord, give me this. Right? So, you can pray. You should pray. So, very specific. Now, the problem is, if you look at the Puranas and the stories in the Puranas, you have the Asuras and the Devas. Now, why is that most of the Devas were destroyed? They were equally good tapasvis. You're amazed how they did more tapas than the Devas. These guys did, some of the guys did more tapas than Indra, Brahma. Did they more tapas? But why they all fallen? Very simple reason. They just did not know what to pray, how to pray, what to ask for. They did all the work, like we do all the work in Namakam. Did all the work. But they did not know, they did not have the right faculty of mind to ask for the right thing. They asked for the wrong things. That's where they got destroyed. So even to pray, you should know what to pray, what to ask for. So that's where Chamakam comes in handy and gives you stick to hold on and say with this, it walks you through the prayers. Walk through the prayers. Ask Lord for this, this, this and that. So that is where the prayer is more important. So you should not only pray, but you should also know what to pray for. Because if like the Asuras, if you pray for the wrong things, ask for the wrong things, it will be given to you. You know, like they say, expression is, give somebody a long rope, they hang themselves, right? Same thing here happened. Anyway. So should one pray. Does not God know our wants? And does not He automatically, like an ATM machine, you put in your code and the amount, doesn't He dispense? But even there you have to go and ask, give me this much money. Then the ATM dispenses. So you have to put in your code, all that. Same thing with God. You have to put in your code, you have to log in your internet, put in your amount, whatever you want. Then it will be given to you. If you ask for $10, it will give you $10. Some of the ATM don't have $10 anymore. So $20 minimum. You can ask 20, you'll get 20. Right? Then you want up to like 1,000, 2,000, something ATMs will give you. More than that, they say go inside, go to a higher level. So the prayer also like that. So in Chamakam, that's what it tells you what to ask for. That's exactly what you are asking for. So if you ask for more than $2,000, the ATM machine will tell you go inside. So same way here, if you ask for higher things in Chamakam, then you have to go inside. Okay. Nevikalpa Samadhi. Chamakam says you go inside and ask. You'll be given. Good. Now, the Chamakam answers those questions that we raised. God is there to give. God is there to give. So therefore, when somebody is there to give, ask regally, ask abundantly, and unapologetically. Oh my Lord, sorry, I'm asking. No, sorry, you should be full conviction. Ask regally, abundantly, like a child demands from a father, like Jnana Sambandha demanded Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva, my father, he called him my father. I don't have money to do this havan. Give me money. He gave him a lot of gold coins. Then Sambandha said, look, all these people are suffering from famine. They don't have food to eat. Give me gold coins. Shiva gave him gold coins. Ask Lord abundantly, unapologetically, and not bashfully or whining. Oh, I beg you. Like sometimes we go in front of bosses. No. You are a lion. What is inside of you, lion? Don't bleat like a sheep. Don't meow like a cat. Roar like a lion. Ask not for one or two, but for all the things. And how? Not silently, in a full-throated manner when he chants Chamakam. Eka chame, tisra chame, pancha chame, sapta chame, navachama, ekadasa chame, trayodasa chame. You will see when it comes to that what those numbers are. What are we asking for? You will see that later. Anyway, Bhagavad Gita validates that you should pray and you can ask. You can ask for prayer. You should ask for things. The earthly things you can ask for. But Bhagavad Gita beautifully says, Balam balavatam chaham kamaraga vivarjitam dharma vriddho bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshava. Oh Bharatarshava, I am the desire. Lord himself is the desire. Bhuteshu, of all this creation, the beings, what is he? Kamosmi Bharatarshava. I'm the desire. But what kind of a desire? See the word before that. Dharma aviruddha kama. Aviruddha means not against. Not against. Not opposed to. Not opposed. Not against. What? Dharma. So those desire, that desire that's not opposed to dharma, that I am. Therefore, you can have desires. And you should ask for the fulfillment of those desires. Desire. Why do we seek things? Happiness, right? You have a desire because you want to be happy. A desire, I want to have this 70-inch TV. Now probably 100-inch will be coming soon. There was a time you thought 10-inch TV will be happy. We thought 20-inch TV was big, we'll be happy. And we thought, oh, 32-inch, oh my God, what is a 32-inch? Cost $1,000. You'll be happy. Then they become 40, 52, 70. Will this ever end? No, it will never end. And then the Taittiriya Upanishad gives very beautifully a story of human beings' happiness. In Anandavalli, Brahmanandavalli, Taittiriya Upanishad quantifies, mathematically quantifies all this happiness. Like, when you study physics or chemistry, when you start an equation, we start with certain basic fundamentals. Then you build upon it. So same way Taittiriya Upanishad, the Brahmanandavalli does it here. It defines what is one unit of human happiness. Manushya Anandaha. What is one unit of human happiness? Now, most of us will not even reach 20% of that one unit. Forget it. But still, they have to start somewhere. So in order to quantify it, so the Taittiriya Upanishad quantifies it. That a good youth in his prime of youth, second, well versed in scriptures, well disciplined, right there many will fail. A good youth, right there many will fail. Well versed in scriptures, 99.9 will fail. Well disciplined, 99.99 will fail. And that very strong and resolute, everybody will fail. Resolute and strong. But assuming there is a youth like that, and in addition, he owns this entire planet Earth. He is the king, emperor of all this. So, if somebody is like that, his happiness is one unit, solo uno. Then, this is one unit of Manushyananda. Yuva syat sadhu yuva adhyayakah ashishto dhridishto balishtaha tasyeyam prithvi sarva vityasya purna syat sayeko manusha anandaha. That is one unit of happiness. He among men who has got his limbs and other organs in full perfect order, and has command of all the sources and objects of enjoyment, and is the Lord and the Emperor over the entire world, and possesses more than all others in the highest degree of human enjoyment, well versed in scriptures, resolute and disciplined, that happiness enjoyed by this man is one unit. Teye shatam manushya gandharvanam 100 of this human happiness, this is what we described, makes one unit of manushya gandharvananda. Teye shatam sayeko deva gandharvanam srotriyasya chakamah tasya teye shatam deva gandharvanam Sayekah pitrunam chiraloka lokamanandah srotriyasya chakamah tasya teye shatam pitrunam chiraloka lokamanandah sayeka jana janam devanam anandah srotriyasya chakamah tasya teye shatama jana janam devama osso anandanananda. So finally, by that time you go through Manushyananda, Manushya Gandharvananda, Deva Gandharvananda, Pitrunam Chiralokananda, Ajana Janam, Devanam Anandaha, then Karma Devanam Anandaha, then Brihaspati Rananda, then you have Prajapati Rananda. You go up the ladder, and by the time, I did this maths one time, kept multiplying, and it just almost went to infinity. So that one infinite amount of one unit of happiness is what you got, Brahmananda. Trillions and trillions and trillions, trillion of one unit of that human ananda. When you multiply all this is where you reach to the Parabrahmananda. Sayaschayam Purushe Yascha Sabhaditye Sa Ekaha. That Brahmanandam, when you reach that level, he's only one. Sayayevam Vitam. So that is how it describes it. But then if you look at this Brahmananda Valli, every line it adds a refrain. What is the refrain? It says, Srotriyasya Chakamaha Tasya. After defining this is one unit, 100 of this is this. And then that one of this times 100 of this is this. And that one of this 100 times is this. And that one of that 100 times is this. So multiplying, but everywhere you see this refrain that on the path towards that ultimate Brahmananda, akamaha tasya, that when you go up the ladder, you have to go with the detachment. You may enjoy all this, you may have that happiness, but unless the detachment is there, you will fall down. Like, we used to play that Paramapadam in India. I remember playing that particularly during this Vaikuntha Ekadashi, because my paternal grandmother died on a Vaikuntha Ekadashi. So my father and my uncle, there was only 2 boys, used to observe that. They will be awake all night, but then my father passed away when I was 3 years old, so I didn't know how he observed it, but then I was told he did. But then I have seen my uncle observe it, so and we also started observing it. How we were spending time, we used to play this Paramapadam. Paramapadam is like the huge chart, like a paper, and then you roll some dice, and whatever number you get, then you move your coin or marker. You have a marker and your opponent have a marker. So many people can play that. So you go up, and then if you reach a square where the bottom of a ladder, then you can climb up the ladder and go up to wherever the top of the ladder ends. So you jump. And by the same token, if you end up in a square where there is a hood of a snake, you got bitten by a snake. Sansara sarpadashtanam jantunam avivekinam chandrasekharam jaksharanam. So like that, you get bitten by a snake. So Chandrasekhara Padam Paramaushadam. But there was no Aushadam in that Paramapadam play. So when you get bitten by the Sansara, Sansara Sarpadasthana Jantunam Abhivekinam. Jantunam. Markandeya Swami literally calls all of us animals. If you are bitten by the Sansara, you are an animal. Then he says you are avivek. Sansara satpadashtanam jantunam avivekinam. So what's the remedy? Viswaha Bheshiji, Chandrasekhara is the only Bheshiji. What is the Bheshiji? Chandrasekhara Padam Sharanam Paramausadam. Paramausadam. That is the highest remedy. Anyway, so same way in the Paramapadam you get bitten by a snake. And you know where you end up? Wherever the tail of the snake, whichever square it ends, that's where you have to end up. So, same thing here. So if you don't have the detachment, you'll be bitten by the sansara sarpadatta. Ho jayega. Ekdam fir niche gir jayega. So you'll be bitten by that sansara sarpa. Like in the Paramapadam, here same thing here. Then you'll never reach any level of ananda at all. So fall down. Like I said in last lecture, kurudum kuruttattamadi kuli vilundamare. If you don't get the right kind of guru, you get a guru who cannot lead you. So the blind and the blind doing a blind dance fall into the ditch. Wonderful. So you all have a very good day in India and Singapore. And all of you here in America have a good night or good evening from California. And see you in our next class. Om Namah Shivaya.
Hari Om Vijayji.
Om Namah Shivaya. Pranam Swami.
Om Namah Shivaya.
Om Namah Shivaya.
Shivaya Namah.